Every prison has an escape story, but Rikers Island doesn't. In over 80 years, tens of thousands have tried, tunneling through walls, swimming across icy waters, hijacking garbage trucks, even disguising themselves as guards. None made it, not one, and those who tried, most never spoke again. Tonight, we open the case files of Rikers Island's most daring, most desperate escape attempts, and uncover why this place, surrounded by water, guarded by corruption, and haunted by its own ghosts, might be the one prison that truly has no way out. Like, share and subscribe if you dare to step inside. The island of no escape. They call it the rock that never lets go. Rikers Island isn't just a jail. It's a fortress floating in New York City's bloodstream. A 413-acre patch of land cut off by razor wire, wind, and water. From above, it looks almost peaceful, but inside, it's a maze of concrete and chaos. 9 jails, 10,000 inmates, and one unwritten rule: nobody escapes. Over the decades, inmates have found every way to fight back: riots, hunger strikes, arson, even corruption scandals that brought down entire wardens. But escape? That's different. That's not rebellion. That's war. The East River currents move fast, faster than they look. The moment a body hits the water, it's dragged under. Even if an inmate somehow got past the watchtowers, the floodlights, the K-9 units, the armed boats, and the motion sensors, the current alone would take them. There's a reason Rikers doesn't need electric fences. The river itself is the executioner. But through the years, some men still tried. Rikers Island, a place where time stops and dreams die behind concrete walls. For decades, men have tried to run, swim, dig, and even fly their way out, but none ever made it. This is Rikers Island, the prison that no one escapes. Before we begin this journey through its darkest escape attempts, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Blood and Justice. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a story about prison. It's a story about the place where freedom itself is the enemy. The man who disappeared in the fog. It was 1963. A heavy fog rolled across the East River, like smoke from a dying city. Inside the jail, a man named Luis Spider Morales was working kitchen duty, quiet, compliant, and invisible. Spider had been locked up on a robbery charge, a small-time crook with a big-time reputation for slipping through impossible places. They said he once escaped a precinct by squeezing through a vent no bigger than his shoulder width. At Rikers, he told cellmates one thing every night before lights out: walls ain't walls if you know how to listen to them. Spider spent weeks studying guard rotations, counting seconds between patrols. He noticed something. Every morning, when the supply boats arrived, the dock gates opened just long enough to let a truck through. No one watched the water then. On March 18th, Spider vanished. His bunk was empty, his uniform folded neatly on the pillow. A search team combed the shoreline for hours, then days. They found nothing. No body, no footprints. Just one thing: a trail of wet, bare footprints ending abruptly at the dock's edge. The official report said he drowned, but the guards whispered something else, that they heard a small engine rev in the fog that morning, a boat that was never logged. Some say Spider made it to Queens. Others say the river swallowed him whole. Either way, his name became the first in Rikers' Black Book of Ghosts, the men who try to leave and vanish instead. The tunnel beneath the yard. Fast forward to 1978. The city was broke, corruption was rampant, and Rikers was a powder keg ready to blow. 2 inmates, Raymond Stacks Johnson and Charlie Ruiz, share a cell in the B block. Stacks was a builder, Charlie a dreamer. Together, they had a plan: dig. Using stolen spoons, broom handles, and pieces of scrap metal from the workshop, they spent 6 months tunneling under the recreation yard. They hid the dirt inside old ventilation shafts, using wet towels to muffle the scraping sound. It was genius. Until it wasn't. The tunnel stretched 40 feet, enough to reach the fence. But one night, during a cell inspection, a rookie guard noticed that the floor beneath their bunks sounded hollow when tapped. Within minutes, the entire block was locked down. The guards found the tunnel, lined with cardboard, reinforced with wood from stolen cafeteria benches. A masterpiece of desperation. Stax and Charlie were sent to isolation, the box. They never shared a cell again. Months later, Charlie was found hanging from his bedsheet. Stax never spoke again. The tunnel was sealed with cement. But years later, when maintenance crews reopened the yard, they found something carved into the wall near the entrance. Freedom starts where fear ends. The water jump. 1986. A year when Rikers felt like a war zone. Violence was up, overcrowding worse than ever. And in the chaos, one inmate believed he could do what no one else had. Fly out. His name was Eddie Coltrane, a former stuntman turned bank robber. He wasn't crazy, just fearless. Eddie spent weeks collecting stolen bed sheets, twisting them into makeshift rope. Then one stormy night, during a blackout caused by a lightning strike, he climbed onto the roof of the main building. The plan was insane. He'd jump from the roof onto a passing garbage barge, timing it perfectly as it drifted beneath the bridge. Witnesses say they saw him leap, a blur of motion against a lightning flash. He hit the deck of the barge and disappeared into the darkness. For hours, the entire island went on lockdown. Helicopters circled. Searchlights swept the river. Nothing. A week later, his body washed ashore near LaGuardia. He'd broken both legs in the fall and drowned before sunrise. His cellmate later told reporters. He said the walls talked to him, said the river whispered freedom. Guess he listened too close. And that became the pattern. Hope, followed by silence. The officers' deal. By 2003, Rikers Island had changed. New uniforms, new technology, but the same old corruption underneath. Inmates weren't the only ones dreaming of escape. That year, an officer named Malcolm Trent, quiet, well-liked, 12 years on the job, was caught in something that would shake the entire Department of Corrections. Malcolm wasn't your typical dirty cop. He didn't take bribes, didn't deal contraband, at least not until he met Darius Slim Carter. Slim was a natural manipulator, tall, calm, and dangerous in his silence. He'd already served 6 years of a 15-year stretch for armed robbery, and he had one obsession: getting out. They met during routine escort duty. Slim talked to Malcolm like no other inmate did, respectfully, like an equal. Over time, that conversation turned into favors. A little extra phone time, an extra meal, and then money. Slim had connections on the outside. Real ones. They started small. $300 for a smuggled cell phone, $800 for a fake visitor pass. Then Slim offered him something he couldn't refuse. $50,000 to get him out. At first, Malcolm laughed. But when the second paycheck came late, and his wife started asking questions about the mortgage, laughter turned into thought. Slim's plan was bold but simple. Malcolm would drive a laundry truck off the island, with Slim hidden inside. The timing was perfect. The fog was thick that morning, security short-staffed, and Malcolm was on gate duty himself. He signed off the paperwork, nodded to the guard at the booth, and rolled toward the bridge. But Slim never made it to freedom. When the truck reached the checkpoint, a random inspection was ordered. Inside, they found Slim crouched between bags of uniforms, breathing through a ripped pillowcase. Both men were arrested on the spot. Slim was sent to solitary, then transferred upstate. Malcolm lost everything: his job, his pension, his freedom. During interrogation, when asked why he did it, he said quietly, "You don't understand Rikers. Everyone in here wants out, even the guards. Rikers didn't just hold inmates. It absorbed people. Even those sworn to protect it eventually broke under its weight." The Skyline Plan. 2012. Technology had made Rikers smarter. Cameras in every corner, motion sensors in the hallways, digital gates. But the human mind? It always finds a way to dream beyond walls. This time, the plan came from a young inmate named Devin Blake, nicknamed Skyline because of the tattoo stretching across his back, the New York skyline, drawn in ink and regret. Devin was only 24, a getaway driver for a gang he barely knew. But he had something most inmates didn't: a degree in computer engineering. When a broken camera went offline in the North Corridor, Devin offered to help fix it, a small job that earned him trust. From there, he learned the system, the access panels, the power surges, the blind spots that even the guards didn't notice. His escape wouldn't use force. It would use data. Devin spent months building a plan. He timed the guard rotations to the second, mapped out dead zones where cameras rebooted, and created a fake maintenance schedule using a smuggled flash drive. One night, under the flicker of dying fluorescent lights, he acted. The system glitched briefly, showing all green across the control monitors. The cell doors didn't open, but one hallway camera looped for 7 minutes, just enough for Devin to move. He slipped into a service tunnel near the generator room. No alarms, no guards, no sound but the hum of electricity and his heartbeat. He reached the outer maintenance hatch, the last barrier before the perimeter wall. Then it happened. A backup generator came online. Every screen across the facility blinked back to life. Devin froze, caught on camera mid-step, halfway to freedom. Within minutes, a tactical team surrounded the area. When they found him, he didn't resist. He just smiled and said, "If I'd had 2 more minutes, you'd be reading about me, not arresting me." The warden later said it was the closest anyone had come to escaping in 40 years. The guard started calling the attempt the Skyline Glitch, the Rikers Curse. To this day, the East River remains Rikers' most effective guard. But for some, it's also a temptation, an open road that whispers promises no cell could. In 2019, a 27-year-old inmate named Rico Morales tried to swim it. He'd been on the island 3 years for grand larceny, but when he learned his younger brother was shot in the Bronx, something snapped. He made his move during a work detail near the shoreline. 2 other inmates distracted the guard. A quick fight staged near the trucks, while Rico slipped into the water. The current was fierce. Cameras caught him for only 6 seconds, a blur of arms and waves before the fog swallowed him. Search boats scoured the river for hours. Nothing, just ripples. His body washed up 3 days later near Rikers' north embankment, less than a quarter mile from where he jumped. The official cause, drowning. The inmates called it the river's curse. Because at Rikers, even when you run, the island pulls you back. The modern ghosts. By the 2020s, escape didn't always mean barbed wire or broken windows. It meant data. It meant vanishing not through tunnels, but through the system itself. Rikers had gone digital. Tablets for inmates, electronic monitoring, facial recognition check-ins. It was supposed to make the facility safer, more efficient. But in Rikers, every new system comes with a new weakness. One inmate, Andre Ghost Benson, found it. A former IT contractor turned cybercriminal, Andre had been convicted for identity theft, stealing thousands through fake accounts. When the DOC handed him a tablet for educational purposes, he smiled. To him, it was a key. Ghost started studying the code behind the inmate management software. He noticed something. Every profile update required 2 forms of verification, guard ID and digital signature. But one backup system still ran on outdated protocols from 2009, and that system didn't require facial confirmation. In theory, Ghost could alter a record, delete his mugshot, change his release date, replace it with a fake confirmation from a non-existent warden's ID. He called it Project Exit. It took months. Every night, while others slept, Ghost wrote code fragments in the Notes app, hiding them in blank messages sent himself through the internal tablet system. When pieced together, it created a full script that could override the system's lockout. Then, on August 4th, 2022, it worked. At exactly 2:14 a.m., the central computer registered an automatic release authorization for inmate number 547921, Andre Benson. By morning roll call, his name was gone from the active roster. According to the system, he'd already been transferred. Guards checked his cell. Empty. For 12 hours, Rikers went into full lockdown. They thought they had their first real digital escape. But Ghost hadn't made it off the island. He'd been hiding inside a ventilation shaft above the data center, monitoring the chaos through a hack security feed. When he tried to move at night, a motion detector picked up his heat signature. The next morning, a SWAT team found him curled inside the shaft, dehydrated, exhausted, but grinning. When asked how close he came, he said, "I already escaped. You just haven't realized it yet." They called it the first cyber escape attempt in Rikers history. Ghost was transferred to federal custody, permanently offline, the forgotten attempt. Not every escape makes headlines. Some are buried, forgotten, or quietly erased from record. In 1994, a rumor spread among correctional officers about one man who actually made it. No files, no photos, just whispers. They called him the janitor. He worked in the sanitation unit, a ghost employee with no assigned number. He pushed a car through corridors every morning, unnoticed, unscanned, unsearched. Until one day, he was gone. There was no escape alert, no missing inmate count, no open gates. But a week later, a DOC supervisor found something scratched on a bathroom mirror near the admin block. You built a cage for men. You forgot to lock the door. The message was erased by noon. And officially, the janitor never existed. Some say he was an undercover cop who got left behind. Others believe he was an inmate who blended in so well the system forgot him. Whatever the truth, his name became legend, the one who beat the island by becoming invisible. Even now, older guards mention him in hushed tones during night shift, as if the ghost of the janitor still pushes that same cart through the same halls, waiting for another open door. The Bridge of Shadows. Late 2023. A new generation of inmates, younger, angrier, and more connected than ever, began spreading a myth through the cell blocks that there was a secret route off Rikers hidden beneath the main bridge. It started with a rumor from an inmate named Trevor Miles, who claimed to have worked on a repair crew fixing water pipes below the bridge. He said there was an abandoned service tunnel sealed by the city in the 1980s, now half collapsed and forgotten. The story spread like fire. Inmates began sketching crude maps on napkins, trading them for ramen, cigarettes, and favors. They called it the Bridge of Shadows. One night, during a transfer mix-up caused by an internal strike, 3 inmates disappeared for 6 hours. Security logs later showed they'd been last seen near the maintenance yard, the same area connected to the bridge's foundation. A search team found them at dawn, trapped inside a storm drain that hadn't been used in decades. They were half-conscious, soaked, and covered in mud. When interviewed later, one of them whispered, "We heard it, the tunnel. It's real, but it breathes." After that night, the area was sealed with new concrete barriers. No one spoke of it again. But every year, new graffiti appears on that same wall near the bridge. Freedom waits in the dark. The island that eats its own. Rikers isn't a prison built on concrete. It's built on fear, on desperation, on the bones of those who tried and failed to escape. Over the decades, the system has evolved. Walls thicker, guards smarter, cameras sharper. But the spirit inside never changes. Every man who walks through its gates carries the same thought. There has to be a way out. And every time one tries, the island takes something back. Sometimes their freedom. Sometimes their life. Sometimes their mind. The truth is simple. Rikers doesn't need to stop people from leaving. It makes them forget how. No one escapes the island, because in the end, the island becomes you. The island that eats its own. They say Rikers Island isn't just a prison. It's a living thing. It breathes through the pipes, listens through the walls, and feeds on the silence between screams. Every man who ever tried to leave it behind became a part of its story. A ghost stitched into mortar, a whisper that travels through the vents at night. The records call them failed escape attempts. But that's not what they were. They were the closest thing to truth this island ever saw. Moments where men remembered what it felt like to be human. Freedom isn't just about running. It's about remembering you still can. And that's what Rikers takes first. Before your time, before your name, your memory of the outside world. The guards will tell you it's the most secure jail in America. But the real secret is darker. You don't need bars to keep men trapped when their hope is already gone. Somewhere out there, maybe Spider Morales is still alive, hiding under a false name, never daring to speak of where he came from. Maybe the janitor still walks free, pushing an empty cart through New York City streets, haunted by the sound of clanging gates. Maybe, but every year, the river still pulls another name back home, and the island grows a little larger. They call Rikers the place no one escapes. But maybe no one ever truly tried, because the real prison isn't made of concrete. It's the guilt, the memory, the island you build inside yourself. And in that silence, the island waits. This was Rikers Island, the prison that no one escapes. If you made it this far, like, share and subscribe, because next time, we're going somewhere even darker. Rikers Island, a place built to hold men, but somehow it swallows them instead. Every escape plan failed, every name lost to time, every soul claimed by the island that never lets go. If this story kept you watching until the end, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Blood and Justice, because the next story takes us even deeper into the darkness, where the walls don't just keep people in, they keep secrets buried alive.